true limits of humanity. The final border we will never cross. Ooh, this is a... I like the sounds of this one because he's going out on a limb here. You know, he's actually saying something that's quite speculative. And something, no doubt, a lot of you guys will challenge. So I'm interested to see the discussion and debates going on in the comments of this video. But anyway, let's get into this, shall we? Let's get Jonathan out of the way. Welcome to another video, my friends. Here we are, yet again, back at it. We're going to watch another Physicist. So I hope you guys are pumped. Before we get into it, the Daily Dance newsletter, I'm really loving writing this. I feel like I found something, you know, really special to me. I love it. So come get involved. I think I've done like 4 or 5 of them now, and they're so much fun. And I try to make them unique and put weird things. And not only that, there's quite a few exclusives in them that you won't find reported on, like on the internet. I like to go into actual papers that are being published on the archive and actually reporting on them in this newsletter. I usually try and do at least one in each newsletter that you won't find anywhere on the internet. Sign up, it's completely free, and I'll send it out each day, and then you can also come watch the videos on here that I post every couple of days talking about the stuff as well. So yeah, come get involved. It would mean the world to me, and I want to like kind of create a community around it. Alright, so I just tried to balance the volume a bit better for you guys, so let me know if that's a little bit better.
Is there a border we will never cross? Are there places we will never reach, no matter how hard we try? It turns out there are. Even with sci-fi technology, we are trapped in a limited...
That's, you know, I have a problem with them saying that, even with sci-fi technology, because, you know, I will talk later. I'm not going to talk much right now, but there are regions we will never be able to get to with our current understanding of physics, but sci-fi tech might just allow it. And we'll talk about this, all right?
Pockets of the universe and the finite stuff within it. How much universe is there for us, and how far can we go?
Damn, the whistle was off.
If you look at the night sky, you might assume it will be there forever. Stars are born and die again in a cycle that feels endless. But it's not. Take the Milky Way, up to 200,000 light-years in diameter, containing some 100...
Where did you get 200 from? Do I need to update my knowledge here? I'll look into this afterwards.
400 billion stars.
That's good.
How many stars do you think are born here each year? Thousands? Millions? The answer is around 3. 3 new stars.
So this is something we could talk about that ties to what I was looking at last year, which is like star formation in galaxies and quiescent dead galaxies. So maybe we'll talk about this later on. But yeah, it's really surprising to learn how little star formation is actually happening in our galaxy and galaxies in the local universe. Our galaxy is very old, you know. We'll talk about this. Let's just
stars per year. 95% of all the stars that will ever exist in the universe have already been born, and we live at the tail end of the age of star formation. We are at the beginning of the end of the universe as we know it. The formation of new stars will continue to slow down. But
that really depends on you know, whether the universe continues to do what it's currently doing. We're not convinced of that. It looks like that might be the case, but, you know, there could be a big crunch, dark energy could change, all sorts of things could happen where actually, you know, in the future, star formation can kick off again.
More. It turns out that the universe is rushing away from us. The Milky Way is not alone. Together with the Andromeda Galaxy and more than 50 dwarf galaxies, it forms the Local Group, a region of space about 10 million light-years in diameter. Our galactic neighborhood.
There was a really cool image recently released of 2 galaxies merging, and it kind of represents exactly what it'll look like when the Milky Way and Andromeda collide. Maybe we should look that up quickly to show you guys. Yeah, check out this image we just took of 2 spiral galaxies about 60 million light years away. And look, they're colliding. This is what the Milky Way and Andromeda are going to do in about 4.5 billion years. They're not completely collided yet. They're 20,000 light years apart still, even though it looks like, you know, they're right there. Anyway, let's get back to it. You know, all sorts of star formation might kick off after something like this, a merger. Anyway.
Galaxy groups like the local group make up the Laniakea supercluster, which itself is only one of a myriad of superclusters. In total, there are around 2 trillion galaxies that make up the current observable universe. Unfortunately, even if we could travel at light speed, around 94% of the galaxies we can see are already unreachable for us forever. Let this number sink in for a moment.
I'm very sad. So a fun little thing is based on the expansion rate, the amount of dark energy we have, and the present cosmological parameters of the universe, we can actually calculate what we call the future visibility limit, the maximum distance we'll ever be able to observe, right? Right now, in the 13.8 billion year old universe, our current visibility limit is 46 billion light years, right? Our future visibility limit is approximately 33% greater, 61 billion light years. There are galaxies out there right now whose light is on the way to our eyes but has not had the opportunity to reach us yet. So check this out. If we were to add up all of the galaxies in the parts of the universe that we'll someday see but can't right now, you'll probably be shocked to learn that there are more yet to be revealed galaxies than there are galaxies in the visible universe. There are an additional 2.7 trillion galaxies waiting to show us their light on top of the 2 trillion we can already access.
The simple fact that there's a limit for us and that there is so much universe that a human will never be able to touch is kind of frightening. Why are all of these galaxies out of reach already? Well, it all has to do with why there are galaxies in the first place, the Big Bang. We're simplifying here, but in a nutshell, about 10 to the power of minus 36 seconds after the Big Bang, the young universe was a very small bubble of energy. It wasn't completely uniform though. Some parts of it were a tiny bit denser than others, which had massive consequences. In a process called cosmic inflation, the observable universe expanded rapidly, from the size of a marble to trillions of kilometers in a trillionth of a second. That was so fast that all those tiny differences in density were stretched from subatomic distances into galactic distances, which is why the whole universe consists of more and less dense regions.
There is a problem here. He has got this a little bit wrong. So inflation actually happened before the Big Bang. So now you might be really confused. So the Big Bang is not what you think. It wasn't like this bang into existence or popping into existence. No. We don't actually know how the universe started. We can only say what happened at the end of inflation, which expanded the universe exponentially fast, faster than the speed of light. Then the Big Bang occurred. So this view of what he's described is about 40 years out of date. So we actually know inflation came first. We don't know if the universe started in a singularity. We really don't understand what happened at the beginning of the universe. But anyway, we can maybe talk about this later. But yeah, I just wanted to add that little bit in because that's a common misconception.
Pockets of the universe filled with a bit more stuff than the space around them. After that short but powerful inflation ended, gravity began trying to pull everything back together. Inside the denser pockets, gravity emerged victorious, and so over time, they grew into groups of galaxies like the one we live in today. The local group is our pocket of the universe. But at larger scales outside the denser pockets, the expansion of space never stopped. This means that our local group is surrounded by a lot of stuff, but none of those structures and galaxies are gravitationally bound to us. The more the universe expands, the larger the distance between us and the other gravitational pockets become.
Goddamn mind-boggling, because, you know, like, these are groups of galaxies, but the galaxies themselves are literally like islands in an ocean as well. And from this view, it looks like the groups are islands in an even bigger ocean. Does it ever stop? Who knows?
Even worse for us, the expansion of the universe is accelerating. We don't know why this happens, so we came up with the concept of dark energy. You can imagine it like an invisible effect that speeds up the expansion of the universe. We'll explain these concepts in more detail in another video though. For now, all you need to know is that the universe is expanding faster and faster. This expansion means that there's a cosmological horizon around us. Everything beyond it is traveling faster relative to us than the speed of light.
Yes.
So everything that passes the horizon is irretrievably out of reach forever, and we will never be able to interact with it again. In a sense, it's like a black hole's event horizon, but all around us. 94% of the galaxies we can see today have already passed it and are lost to us forever. Wait, if we can't interact with them, how come we can still see them? The way we're able to see something is via light, and although the speed of light is the fastest way to travel through the universe, it needs time to get from one place to another. Every second, light reaches us from trillions of galaxies that have passed the horizon because when their light was emitted, they were much closer to us. We are looking at their ancient past and see their ancient positions. So the observable universe is much larger than the universe we can actually interact with. In a sense, the universe is pulling off a great show for us, showing us things that are out of reach forever. We have no idea what these galaxies look like today, and we will never know.
We are literally only seeing 43% of the galaxies that will someday be able to see. Beyond our little observable universe lies this unobservable universe, which probably look just like the one, the part we can see. The way we know this is through observations of the cosmic microwave background, the CMB, and the large-scale structure of the universe. If the universe were finite in size, had an edge, or its properties began to change as we looked, further and further out, our measurements of these phenomena should show it. But the observed spatial flatness of the universe shows us that it's neither negatively or positively curved, which is like accurate to 99.96%. So we can't see any curvature to our universe either. It looks to be flat, and we know this to a precision of like 99.6%. This means that if it curves back on itself, the unobservable universe is at least 250 times larger than the currently visible part. What I'm getting at is the unobservable universe, like the true maximum size of it, must be like 23 trillion light years in diameter and contain a volume of space that's over 15 million times as the volume we can currently observe.
But we will be able to observe them for a long time as their light hits our telescopes.
So just to add a tiny little thing here, which is really quite simple, because a lot of people, it's a common piece of misinformation when I talk to people, is that they think when they look in the sky, they're looking at long dead stars because of stuff like this, or they're looking at ghosts. But you got to remember, all the stars in the night sky are literally within our Milky Way. What he's showing are distant galaxies you can't see with the naked eye. You can, make out Andromeda, which is like 5 times larger than the moon. But for other more distant galaxies, Andromeda's 2.5 million light years away. He's showing you galaxies that are, on the edge of the observable universe, much, much further than, 2.5 million. You're talking like 45 billion light years away. Yeah, different thing altogether. And they're long, possibly dead. But anyway.
Interestingly, this means that currently the observable universe still appears to be growing as more and more light released by super distant galaxies billions of years ago is arriving at our doorsteps. Still, all the pockets of the universe outside the local group will one day...
Another really interesting thing to note here, this light has been traveling since the beginning, near the beginning of the universe, right? A long, long time. However, light is made of photons, and photons don't experience time. So it's actually no time has elapsed since it was emitted, even though it's been traveling for the almost existence of the universe itself. Not only that, distance doesn't exist for it either. It's here and anywhere instantaneously. Try and wrap your head around that one. I bet you can't. I can't.
Our cosmological horizon. Once they do, their light won't be able to reach us anymore, and from our perspective, they will fade away into
Adios,
darkness.
amigos.
Every second of your life, 60,000 stars pass the horizon. Since you started watching this video, around 22 million stars have moved out of our reach.
Well, that's terrifying.
Forever. Okay, but if 94% of the observable universe is beyond the cosmic horizon and gone forever, that still leaves us with 6% that is technically in reach, which is still a ton of stuff. All the galaxy pockets that are less than 18 billion light years away. They are still moving away, but slow enough that we could physically reach them. Although the chances are shrinking with every second that passes, that's more than around 5 million light years away is moving away from us. But the closest galaxy groups are receding the slowest, so there is a time window to jump galaxy groups. The challenge
he's assuming he's assuming you can move very, very close to the speed of light, very fast, because if you couldn't even get anywhere near it, no, absolutely not. With current tech, no.
Even for Type 3 civilizations. Even at the speed of light, a trip to the Maphite group, the closest pocket of galaxies outside the local group, would take 11 million years.
The visualizations in these videos are so good.
If some sort of super-motivated, super-advanced civilization takes this challenge on, its potential sphere of influence could expand to hundreds or thousands of galaxies. Although, as time passes and the universe grows, they would be separated forever.
Nerds.
It's pretty safe to assume that humans will not make this journey. At least not
that's from the last video we watched, the Kaplan thruster, which I had a problem with, so you should go check it out.
Technologies that are even remotely on the horizon. For us, the local group is most likely the largest structure that we will ever be a part of.
Indeed.
Just traveling between the stars would be an
Though
achievement
I'm not convinced. We'll talk about it in a minute.
Of epic proportions. We would already be incredibly successful if we were to colonize our cosmic backyard, which
depends how you define success, my friends.
Accounts for 0.0000000.
Who knows? Maybe we'll go inwards, and create simulations of our own universes that we then, it's another way to look at things. Maybe we're in someone's simulation who's done exactly this because they can't reach much.
% of the observable universe. As dark energy pushes the rest of the universe away from us, the local group will become more tightly bound. All its galaxies, big and small, will merge together to form one giant elliptical galaxy with the unoriginal name Milkdromeda in a few billion years. This process might even smash huge gas
clouds. We're very creative in science.
Together and re-spark star formation for some time. And this new light will be very welcome because at some point the galaxies outside Milkdromeda will be so far away that they become too faint to detect. Once this happens, no information outside of the local group will reach us ever again. The universe will recede from view. A being born in the far future in Milkdromeda will think that the universe consists of nothing but its own galaxy. When they look far into empty space, they will only see more emptiness and darkness. They won't see cosmic background radiation, and they won't be able to learn
beautiful theme in the background
about the Big Bang. They may have no way of knowing what we know today, the nature of the expanding universe, when it began,
it's got goosebumps,
and how it will end. They might think the universe is static and eternal. Milkdromeda will be an island in the darkness, slowly getting darker and darker. Still, with its trillion stars, the local group is certainly a big enough playground to entertain humanity for a while. After all, we still haven't figured out how to leave our solar system, and we have dozens of billions of years at the very least to explore our galaxy. And we have the incredible luck to exist at the perfect moment in time to see not only our future, but also our most distant past just by looking into the night sky. As isolated as the local group is, it is our home. And it really is a spectacular place.
I don't know, man. That's making me kind of emotional. The music combined with what's going on, that made me almost tear up a little bit. So beautiful.
Time for some behind-the-scenes content. You might...
Okay, I guess we should do some talking. I just feel kind of yeah, that was just so beautiful. I have a new favorite video of Kurzgesagt. I thought, I didn't expect this to be my favorite, but that was really beautiful. So before we talk about anything, if you want to hear about the true limits of potential humanity, you should go read a short story which blew my freaking little child mind when I read it, called The Last Question by Isaac Asimov. Now the last question is truly something which might be, the true limits. It's really phenomenal. But anyway, let's talk about this video a little bit. Okay, so the biggest reason I don't agree with some of the limits he set for us in this video are because they are really dependent on us understanding the universe. That's according to the current laws of physics. Now, there really might be ways around what we currently understand. Take, for instance, our cosmic speed limit, the speed of light. Now, a lot of physicists will have a problem with this, but there really could be ways around it. The speed of light is also kind of the speed of causality. So traveling through space-time faster than that kind of breaks reality as we understand it. So maybe not traveling through space-time faster than the speed of light, because then you have things arriving at places before they even set off and all kinds of backwards things that don't make any sense. But what you can do is, if there's potentially higher dimensions, well, you can get out of the fabric of space-time itself, because we know space-time itself, the fabric of it, can actually move faster than the speed of light. It's only things going through it. And so, there really could be other dimensions. And we've talked a little bit about dimensions because people have common misconceptions of what they even are. They're not like some weird places. One dimension is because you need one measurement. Two, you need two measurements to describe where you are. And we say the universe, as we understand in general relativity, is four-dimensional because it's 3 spatial dimensions, 1 temporal dimension in time. You need to know where you are in time, right? If you want to locate someone. Well, there could actually be more dimensions. You might actually need more numbers to describe where we truly are. To physically intuit this is not exactly something that is, our primate brains can really do. But we can do it through the language of mathematics. And, in math, we really can imagine higher dimensional spatial places. And these really might exist, even where we are right now. And suppose they do exist, well, then there could be ways of traveling far beyond the speed of light. And, take black holes. You've probably heard of an Einstein-Rosen bridge. These things that a wormhole, essentially, right? And within black holes, there could be wormholes. And the reason why I'm talking about this is because the way these wormholes work is, well, how does a wormhole essentially get you from one place to another, almost instantaneously, well beyond the speed of light? It's because they curve space-time into a higher dimensional plane, and it's bending the fabric of space-time, through it to another place in space-time, but that assumes there's a higher dimensional place that it's bent through. Do you see what I'm saying? And we have all kinds of names for this in theoretical physics. You might have heard in interstellar. That's exactly how it works. And if you want to see that explained in a way that's actually understandable, because I'm just kind of spouting on, go watch the video I did, one of my early videos. My point is, we could actually get to these regions that are actually beyond this horizon, this of what we can even observe. So when we say that, it might not be true that we can never ever get to these places. With current understanding of physics, we'll never get to them. It's impossible, literally impossible. However, our current understanding of physics, we do know, is absolutely not right. And people don't, talk about this enough. And I understand why. We don't want to give the impression to everyone that everything we kind of understand is wrong. We've got no idea of what's going on, because people don't feel good when you tell them that. They don't. We don't like to feel like we have no idea what's going on. We hate that. But that really is kind of the case. It's like, yes, we have some decent ideas. We think of some things that are going on. And some people will convince themselves we're actually quite sure of things. These people are deluding themselves. Science is phenomenal. Look at everything it's given us. And, if we trust it, what it tells us, yes, these things should be real. But there is so much more going on that doesn't fit in with our current understandings and our current theories that we just ignore, because we're like, you know what, let's just stick with this stuff that seems to work. Airplanes fly, computers work. This stuff seems to be, based on fundamental reality, but it might not be. But anyway, I don't want to get into too much of that, because that's kind of the reason why we don't talk about it too much, because then people start to think all of physics is nonsense and there's no reason to learn it. No, all of society is reliant on our current understanding of physics and technology, okay? We need it. It's better medicine, it's basically, so many people think ignorance is bliss. It's not. Ignorance is death. Ignorance is no medicine, no anything, okay? And so get out there and stop being ignorant and learn. And how do we do that? With math and physics, and lots of other new sciences these days. But anyway, I've been spouting on for a long time, and we've gone on some tangents. I think that'll do. If you're a typical physics guy, studying physics at uni and things like this, or a math guy, and you have a problem with what I've just said, Well, just consider that, we're literally hallucinating reality from inside this place, we think. And we have no idea how that happens. You go to sleep at night, reality disappears, you wake up, and it's there again. Like nothing happened. What is going on there? Like, what is consciousness? How is this working? We have no idea. There really is no way for me to actually know that everyone around me is even real. I could be in a simulation and everyone around me could be NPCs. And this is all about me. You can't think like that. You go crazy, but you really can't be sure that what you're watching now and this reality you're living in isn't entirely built for you. You really can't be certain of things like that. And, you can't think about this or like this too much because you won't be able to live within current society. This stuff will just drive you insane. Alright, so the video is already pretty long, so all those things I said I'd talk about, we'll talk about in another video. So make sure you subscribe.